Hi, this is Vanessa Love, and this is my channel about the mental health field and related topics. So going back to what I had talked about previously about how this field traumatizes therapists. So there are older therapists who have been in the field who are bent on having everyone experience the same suffering that they have. And I, for the life of me, cannot figure out why this is okay. I really truly believe that if private practice is the safest place for people and being not on insurance panels is safe for people, then that should be allowable, especially either trying to understand it as an intern, which really difficult. Don't know if I entirely on board with that because the internships are so tiny. But after being pre-licensed or having the associates instead of the full license, why can't this just be a thing? I had to work with some of the worst chronically ill patients that I do not still have the clinical skills to work with, you know? I think that for my safety, private practice is so much better. The worst that it can get is that occasionally a client hits on me and I have to be like, hey, so that's not okay, and also you should find another therapist because clearly you will not understand these boundaries, and there's too much emotional intimacy, unfortunately, in therapy that you just can't do it. And I have stories of supervisors and art therapists who just want others to suffer, and it's why are we suffering this way? Why is this encouraged? So there's a very weird thing that happened at one of my internships. So this woman who, let's say, was in her 70s and I was in my mid 20s at the time, she death stared me down because we had community supplies. Anyone who wanted to use whatever during group activity, who had been referred to the group, who was an active group participant, not just someone walking by, if they needed some art supplies, and during group they could use whatever art supplies were available. This unfortunately makes it very hard to keep good quality. It doesn't kind of breed any sometimes even the good markers will dry out because someone didn't put the cap on properly or whatever, and so there were a lot of different things. I also was criticized because I would use different types of art materials that I wasn't familiar with, and I wouldn't do a good job with it, and so then this same supervisor would be like, well, you need to take more classes so that you get to know how to use these things. No, I don't. Please don't tell me that I need to spend another over $1,000 on my classes because you think that I don't do well with this art medium that I don't have much experience with. Give me a pencil, I can fucking show you. But instead of having any of that kind of conversation from a therapist, she was more than willing to jump to conclusions of, I don't know what I'm doing. And that was kind of her whole MO. You don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're doing. Why would you treat an intern like that? Why would you treat an intern like that? Just an overall, you have no idea. So I had a technical question. So there is no difference really between acrylic and oil brushes, but you do not want to use a brush that you have had in oil paint to be used as a watercolor or an acrylic paintbrush, because in order to clean an oil brush, you have to use oil to get it clean and basically condition the brushes. So you cannot use water, for obvious reasons, on an oil painting brush. The proper way, because some of you are going to be like, well, you could just use soap and water. The proper way to use and clean An oil painting brush is to use oil to get it cleaned. Baby oil. It's baby oil. That's what you use to clean it. Okay? That's how it's done. You cannot then use water on it because water is going to be repelled by the oils that you just put on this brush. So I asked, which ones are the oil brushes? I don't know. And then she death stared me. And another intern who was like maybe getting close to her 30s had to step in to prevent us from just staring each other down because the 70-year-old had an issue with me not having anything labeled properly in the community art stuff. You know, why are, like, luckily she's retired. She looks like she's very happy in her retirement. She's like doing all of her like fiber and textile artwork, and she's out there doing fun stuff instead of being with, the group therapy. And with her, I fundamentally disagreed with the way that she was running that group too, which always so hard to just be like, you have had people in this group for 12 years. Maybe it's time to graduate. Maybe it's time to, move on. I understand it a little bit now because I was working at the psych hospital at that time, and we were used to people, being there for like max 1 year, but like it really should be 3 to 10 days. Like, we're not going over that. So like to have someone in a group for over 10 years just didn't seem like a good idea. So yeah, it's like, it just is remarkable that, like, knowing that the Gen X and boomers and silent generation, like, was kind of treated like shit as therapists for a long time, and like, oh, honey, that's cute that you do that therapy thing, they still want us to suffer, and it's like, how much of this, like, really needs to be us suffering because you think that that's the best way to go forward. The other thing, so one of the ways that I'm just like, and we can all actually see this, is that the art therapist first lied and said, oh, there's an art therapy license, there's an art therapy license. Oh, actually, art therapy only has a recognition in the field for Connecticut. Then they did get a license 8 years after I graduated. Very fun, I'm so sure. And they're not really pushing to be, like, on insurance panels. They really, really, really wrote out in this whole petition to have this licensure that they wanted validation for being an art therapist. They wanted it's not even license protection. They didn't want to have license protection. They wanted validation because they've been put down so often. And when I've been like, hey, so you also have to, in the middle of that, because Connecticut is the capital of insurances in the world, right? You should be pushing to have those, like, same insurances that are down the street to also be at that hearing, making sure that we're on those panels. Oh, no. That's the next step. No, it's not. That all needs to be done together. This is ridiculous. And, like, the suffering, it continues. Now, I have a beef with North Carolina. I was licensed in North Carolina. Accidentally let it lapse. I don't, like, I forget that I'm, like, licensed there. Now I'm not licensed there. I forgot that I was licensed there. And I didn't realize that I had to tell them that I had moved. Nothing was forwarded to me. So they're trying to reach me, and I can't. And, like, they're not even, like, trying to fucking email me, which is a piece of shit. So now, when I checked, I think last year or the year before, about, like, getting back on the panel, they were like, yeah, so you can definitely do that. So, just by the way, I have to take continuing education credits. I have to take classes. I have to take so many in different ways for each state. I keep track, okay? This is not a big deal. But it is one of those things that, like, when you're not used to it, like, it can be a big deal. And I know that sometimes I have, unfortunately, like, just not documented things, like, as well as I could have. But, like, I feel like I'm fairly neurotypical. This would be extremely difficult for anyone who has ADHD because you have to keep track of a whole lot of crap all the fucking time. All the fucking time. Like, because no one's keeping track for you at all whatsoever. You have to do it. And, like, you can have, like, oh, well, for this state, every 2 years you have to have 60, but for this state you have to have 15 or like 25 every year because your license is every year, but this state has it every 2 years, well, 3 years. So it's in 2 years, and then this one has it, but it's only on July 1st that you have to reapply. See what I mean? Tough to figure it out, right? So I already know that I have enough CEUs. But North Carolina is like, okay, so actually, if you want to reinstate, it's going to be more than you even paid for your initial, like, paperwork to be looked at. You already have my fucking paperwork. Why are we doing this? And it's more requirements for your CEUs. And I was like, motherfucker, like, you do not like or want counselors. And when I've told this to other people, they're like, oh, I got my licensor so easily. And I'm like, lucky for fucking you. They have been nothing but worse and worse. And on top of that, so there's, like, some, like, industrial complex that the licensure for South Carolina, North Carolina, and the National Board of Certified Counselors all at the same address. It's 3rd Terrace Way. I can't remember what state it's in, but it's 3 Terrace Way. And I gotta get pissed off because if 3 Terrace Way already has all my fucking information, why can't you just share it with 3 Terrace Way? Because it's already in the same fucking building. Like, are you just, like, walking across but charging me $50 for you to walk across, like, the fucking hall? What? And there's no, like, suite number 219 or something. Like, it sounds like they are all in the same building, probably just with different fucking, labels on the doors. So, like, what are we doing here? And why are you so fucking expensive? So they required more CEUs, which I'm like, hey, I'm lucky that I did not, like, lapse in any way, that I didn't, like, get a DUI or some other bullshit and, like, couldn't do this or that while I had to deal with something legal or a dying parent or something else, right? You are making it exceptionally hard to, 1, apply, and 2, reapply when you have all of the fucking information that you should have had. Like, why are we doing this? And, like, it just boggles my mind that they are just so willing to be so shitty to, like, counselors. Why? Like, just come out and say that you hate us. That like, the barrier can't be too low, where I'm like, well, like, fucking Connecticut is, like, relaxed. New York is fairly relaxed. Like, everyone kind of can get on the same page, but North Carolina, you need to have blood from a fucking stone in order to get your license there, which is ridiculous. And again, like, I have been able to negotiate a lot of stuff where I'm like, oh my God, I forgot to do this. I'm so sorry. And then, like, I think with the American Art Therapy Association one time, I was like, oh my God, sorry, not the American Art Therapy Association, the Art Therapy Credentialing Board, just separate. I think they're probably in the same building too. So, like, I accidentally, like, paid late, or I didn't realize that I didn't pay, and I was like, oh my God, I just forgot. And they were like, well, you would have had to fill out the paperwork. And I'm like, there was no way for me to actually fill out the paperwork because I didn't know that I actually needed that, because I thought that I had already paid you. I just, like, looked, and I didn't pay you. And then they were luckily, it was like 2 weeks after the due date. Luckily they were fine with, like, reducing it, but, like, what assholes, like, and if they weren't willing to work with me, it would have been like, fine, don't have my fucking money. I'm fucking good. Don't fucking worry about me. You just don't have another registered art therapist, like on your hand. Why does it have to be so fucking difficult? Why does everyone want this like suffering? And like the suffering, like it's like systemic as well as like on the institutional level, like why are we doing this? This is ridiculous. Oh, also, like there's just, oh my god, there's just so much that, like, there's some prison in Connecticut that's looking for a counselor, and I'm just like, okay. I mean, they sent it out to all of us. I hope someone gets it. But damn, yeah, just by the way, just total side note. Man, those prison counselors are something else. They are way different. But very glad that anyone, who doesn't want to be in private practice, like, has jobs, like, there's job opportunities. I do appreciate that. But, like, God, they really want us to suffer sometimes, and it is, like, ridiculous. Also, that same Three Terrace Way, the MBCC, they had a data breach, and my information was in there. And it was also, I worked for a government organization, so I had to get a background check done by the FBI, and my information was breached about 10 years ago through that. They were the only ones who actually gave me protection for 10 years. That's how I know that it has been 10 years since that data breach. Let's see. San Diego State had a couple of data breaches. I believe the University of Buffalo also had a data breach, and T-Mobile had a data breach. All of that information, my information, is out there, which, like, so frustrating, because it's like, this is exactly, like, I warn people that, like, we can't continue to, like, trust that tech bros have any, or technology companies have any idea what HIPAA is, and we do have to educate them about HIPAA in the, like, tech spaces, because, like, there was a company that reached out to me, and I was like, who is looking at this data? And they were like, oh, well, it's gonna be, like, only, like, one or two people. I'm like, I can't have I would have to know who is looking at that information. Like, you should not be able to, like, review my shit, because you need to know how well your shit is doing. That's so fucked up. Like, just think about that for a second. And also, I have clients in tech. They have said things that are like, they didn't have to go through much background. They had, like, security keys, and, like, they could see a lot of information on their end for, like, all of, like, the data, not the data scans, but, like, looking for threats and everything, and the data centers and stuff. It's a lot. It's really scary. And, like, I think that, like, therapists trust these companies way too much. If you're going to Alma, Grow, Headspace, and all of the other ones, like, what's that one? BetterHelp. Like, you have to be very careful, and you should be asking, when's the last time that you checked for threats? And when's the last time that you had a data breach? Because they won't tell you. They don't have to tell the public. But we're talking about security. We're talking about your clients who are in your care. And let me tell you, insurances, they're so big, they don't know what they're doing. That, like, Anthem of Indiana has no idea what Anthem of New Jersey is doing. And sometimes I have to call one, and then they're like, well, you have to call the other, and you have to call this one, and you have to call that one. They don't know what they're doing, but they're looking at your information. I had someone with a federal program, and I'm talking on the phone with her. I'm going over the claim, right? And claims are usually data service payment on the claim. Data service payment on the claim. Data service payment on the claim. She was saying that the one line, was all of the other lines, and I was like, you are too stupid to carry on this conversation. You are in the wrong, and you're telling me this makes sense to you. And this has never been the way that it's ever been done in all of the years that I've been practicing. You cannot have this conversation with me. You are bad. Then I try to get more information from everyone else, and they're stupid too. Like, I'm like, are you telling me that you are paying me differently? Are you paying me for all of the sessions and they're not going line by line? Do I have to go and do a claim day by day? Like, one claim for this day, one claim for this day, even though you have 6 slots. That doesn't make any sense. You understand that? But they're telling me, well, whatever contract you have to go by that contract. Okay, send me the contract. Well, you have to look at your contract. Where's the link to my contract? I don't know where the link to your contract is. I don't, and it's like, you all are so stupid. And you have everyone's fucking information that, like, I don't trust you. Like, you can't give me information that's correct. You should not be able to look at anyone's birthday, addresses, full names. Like, you should not be able to have that information. That information should be barred from you. And there is nothing that I can do as a, like, as a small professional other than, like, make sure that on my end that my clients aren't in any danger. Because, like, so many people are stupid, and there are some not great therapists who fall for these things, who have no idea what's going on, who would never question anything, who have no idea how, like, the claims are processed correctly, and who would fall for things and probably get scammed a couple of times. And, like, I feel really bad for those people because, like, you can almost see how disorganized they are. And there are some out there that are, like, not good mentally. Like, and I don't want to, like, put anyone down, but it's like, oh my God. Please, like, there was someone who I knew who was about to retire, and I was like, that's probably a good idea. I did not know her as a therapist. I knew her as someone who I went to the gym with. So I walk into the gym locker room. She has opened every door, every locker door that was available because she couldn't remember where she put her keys. I don't want that person as a therapist, and I think she was realizing that she was declining. So, like, she was like, I better get going. She was like, I'm going through it. It's like, okay. So you understand this, but, like, there are other therapists out there that are hiding all of that. It's scary. And, like, there are some therapists who should be retired who are not retired and who have shitty beliefs and shitty, like, ways of doing things, and who knows if they're doing their CEUs, because they might have some lifetime get out of jail free card bullshit, and it's all kind of fucked. I don't want to worry you guys, because there's plenty of us who are, like, newer in the field or, like, in the middle of our careers who are doing well. Okay? We're doing fine. But there are some people who are older that I'm like, I don't know about you. And especially if they have that, like, internalized misogyny that want other people to suffer, that's fucked up. That is a moral belief that I am not about. That's a values difference that I am not about, obviously. I am for all the people who will make this easier. And if you guys were the ones who made the, like, who made the, like, trail to, like, for all of the rest of us to follow, why would you want us to make our own, like, hack it, basically, our own way? You should have made this pretty fucking easy. All of you went through it fucking first, and yeah, you trailblazed this, and you have to understand that you made it easier for everyone else. And that is a good thing. Do not make other people suffer because you feel you suffered through the trailblazing. That's not okay. Like, it's so fucking weird to think about, like, that there are people who are just like, I had to go through it, you go through it too. No. We should not be going through it. We should not be going through it. We're not doing this. It should be easier for me. It should be even easier for the people who are recently graduated. I'm good with that. I like that. That's so good. they're gonna like have a really easy time and like hopefully a better career, especially given that they probably won't be able to afford houses even after they get a good education. I'm sorry, man. Anyway, but yeah, like this field, very, very tough, and like you really have to be able to be like, have almost a fuck you attitude to a lot of people who like you would otherwise respect. And that was a hard one for me. But after a while, I'm like, I don't think you guys have the best of my interest involved. So you know what? No, you don't get to tell me how to do this or do that, or say little mean jabs just to be intimidating and bullshitty. Like, and just shitty people. Like, we don't have to do this. You chose to do this. I'm telling you to stop. Anyway, I hope that was helpful for you, and I have to get running. I will talk with you soon. Have a good one.